Okay, hello. Wow, we still have people faces. Is everybody feeling energized? Second session after lunch, woo! Raise your hand if you're feeling good. Keep them up, raise your hand if you're feeling bad. Maybe you're, okay, no, well, all right. That's good, no one's feeling bad, okay, good. I'm only doing a mini energizer. I could do more, I wasn't really prepared to do a bigger one. Did everyone get a sticker? Oh God, okay, at the end. Don't get to it, no, at the end, Gonzalo. Oh my God. Oh my God, my daughter would be like, confetti, and then it's all gone. So welcome to the second session after lunch. So we're going to be talking today with these lovely people. I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves. Today we're talking about the digital nomads and local communities. Or we could even segue that into remote workers and local communities, because remote work, not everyone likes to be called a digital nomad. I know this part. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how the remote work scene and digital nomad scene can help to create a positive and lasting experience for the people within the communities of a co-working space, but also outside of the co-working spaces. So I would love if you could introduce yourselves. Hi, good afternoon. Oh, here. I'll check it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deborah Nebaich, and I'm the General Manager of Second Home Lisbon. We are a community, culture, and design-led co-working provider that has 3 hubs across Lisbon, London, and Los Angeles. And we will be 10 years this year, the company. I've been with the company for 7 years now, and in Lisbon, and I've witnessed a lot of changes. It's really interesting to see how the city has developed, how the co-working market is shaping the new way of work, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, so a lot of changes. And it's good to be here discussing all of that with this group. And prior to that, I was working on business development and customer service across industries such as hospitality and tourism.
Hi everyone, I'm Inês from Synergy, a co-work based in Porto. We are a very small co-working space compared with most of what we've heard. So we have 22 desks, 37 people tops at each month. And we exist for 5 years, so we've been through the pandemic as well.
Congratulations for that. I am Gonçalo Olo, President of the Digital Nomad Association for Portugal and CEO of the Nomads. All this started with the Digital Nomad Village, my first project in Madeira Island. It attracts more or less 20,000 digital nomads per year to Madeira. We organize around 60 events per week, and we have already 3 co-working spaces, 2 for free. We use co-working as a regional development tool, and the other one is private from a hotel. And we basically work with governments to attract digital nomads to interesting regions.
Great, thank you. Who here considers themselves a digital nomad? Okay. Okay, interesting. Oh, I was just curious. Now we know. Okay, so you're actually in the right order because of my questions you didn't know. So Deborah, I'll start with you. I wanted to know what percentage of your members are international, first off?
So our percentage in Lisbon is 75% international members and 25% Portuguese. It then splits between UK, US, Brazil, but that's the numbers.
Yeah, nice. And what initiatives did you implement to attract people, the international people who have found your space?
So we do a lot on our ethos. I would start there. Our ethos is great things happen when ideas, people, and industries collide. So we believe that having the space and creating the space for people to meet and connect is the first starting point for that. So what we do is we do a range of diversified events, cultural and educational program in which we bring our members, but also the local businesses. And that's where it's interesting and I believe relevant for this conversation is I'll give you a few examples because I believe that most of us working on the co-working space already do events. But for us, then what we go beyond is creating partnerships with local businesses around our area. So we are seated in a 19th century building in the center of the historical part of Lisbon, so Time Out Market. And there's plenty of little shops and traditional businesses around. And so we, from day one, decided to create these partnerships all over. We have an active 50 local businesses that we partner with that either they get, that we send it out to our members so that they know that they are partners and can go there and get discounted prices, but also invite them to our space because we are creating the community. We have international and Portuguese, but we want to invite local businesses to our space. So, for example, we do a Christmas market that we are already arranging to happen on the 15th of December, in which we bring local businesses and non-profits to our lounge area, and they are going to showcase their products and be straight in connection with our members. So that's one of the initiatives that we do. We then have a show and tell breakfast. On the previous panel, everyone was talking about the breakfast and how important it is. I think everyone agrees with that. So we have this show and tell breakfast is a session for members to do their pitch. So they have 8 minutes to pitch their business to the community, but we always make sure that we bring one of our local partners to also pitch so that members know how can they support them. So there's plenty of ideas, and throughout these 7 years, I believe it's been really important, and after COVID too, after the pandemic, it's been really important to have this integration of digital nomads and remote workers, but also all our members with the local community.
Thank you. Oh, I'm with you on the Christmas market thing. Oh my God. Anyway, okay, another question to the group. Who is hosting digital nomads or remote workers, international remote workers in their space? Okay, cool, good. I'm going to ask you now, Ines. So what's the percentage of your community that's international?
Around 40%. The remaining are Portuguese.
Okay. And yeah, we were chatting earlier, and I would really love if you could tell the story of, like, when you opened, you were marketing in a different way, in a different language. And how did you change and why? And how did that affect the community that you have now?
Okay, so when we opened, we would spoke only in Portuguese, and we opened Synergy to be a place where people could improve their own businesses, start their businesses if they wanted to, and connect and make synergies, that's why the name, with each other. But then, as the first year went by, we understood that most of our clients were, at the beginning, freelancers, and not really start seeing themselves as business owners or entrepreneurs. So that part was not really working. Then we were working with a person that would help us in marketing, but she was from Brazil and just arrived at Portugal at that time. So she wouldn't really understand that Portugal is quite different from Brazil in the sense that we are very, very small, and the Portuguese people that would go to a co-working space, they speak English, and in Brazil, speaking English is not that common. So she would strongly advise us to speak only in Portuguese, and we accepted that advice for a while. So we attracted Brazilian people. So before... Yeah, it's true. Before the pandemic, our co-work space would be like 75% Brazilian people and some Portuguese people. That was it. Then, with the pandemic, it was a big problem for us because Brazilian people lost their
No, the money,
the value of the money dropped so much that most of them went back to Brazil, and the other ones went to work from their houses because they couldn't afford being at a co-working space. So we were left almost empty at that time. It was a very bad period for us. Then we, of course, started having an English website as well. And we started attracting a completely different public. So for us, we have the pre-pandemic clients and the post-pandemic clients. That now we have 60% Portuguese people, and the rest are foreigners from completely different regions, mostly through these years, like US, Germany. And we see a curious thing that there's trends of people. Like sometimes we have a lot of people from the Netherlands, then we have a lot of people from France, then we have a lot of people from Germany, then US. They come in cycles. I don't know why that happens, but it's a thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing. I really found this story to be really interesting as well. I also noticed these waves of people from certain countries coming to our place in Germany. Gonzalo, you're coming from a different perspective, but super interesting and very pertinent to this topic. For you, I wanted to ask you two questions. One is, so you're working with regional governments and on regional development, so of course positive impact is a big part of your work. Maybe you can describe a little bit about what that means to you in your work, and how are you measuring that?
So we use digital nomadism as an innovation development tool. I think most of the governments are wrong. They believe this falls under tourism. I disagree. I think digital nomads are actually economic development tool. And we started in a small village of 8,000 people that were speaking. Somebody was there before we opened. It was desert. And now if you go there, it's full of young people with laptops enjoying their life. And so I really see digital nomad. I use it as a funnel. Everybody knows sales funnels? You guys from Cowork, your life is sales funnels. So basically, on the top of our funnel, we have digital nomads. Imagine 20,000 visit Madeira every single year, more or less. From those, 1% will fall in love and will stay in Madeira. So we convert them to expats. 25 to 30% of them are actually business owners, entrepreneurs. So our goal is that they open their businesses in Madeira. In the first year, we opened 150 businesses from digital nomads in Madeira. We have a special economic region, and now we are integrating all these innovators, digital nomads, expats, and locals into one bigger community. So for me, digital nomadism and we use co-working space. We have 3 co-working spaces in Ponta do Sol and Mexico. We use this as a social hub to attract digital nomads, to integrate digital nomads, to make them fall in love by the destination, to convert them to expats, so we can help them and attract their businesses. So it's all a trap if you come to Madeira. And the reason why we do this is actually most of the business and most of digital nomads go to central locations because it's easier to meet people. Lisbon is a good case in Portugal. The first community in Portugal was started in Lisbon in 2015, I believe, with Digital Nomads Lisbon, with Hassan and other people. And we started very early, but everything happened in Lisbon. Lisbon became one of the top 3 hubs in the world. Cool, but Lisbon is now also full of mass tourism, so it's not very useful. And nomads don't like mass tourists because they raise the prices, ironically. And so we believe that it's much better to attract digital nomads to other locations that need this impact. And these locations were the ones that were forgotten by the locals. Most people in Portugal had to go to Lisbon to access jobs. So the whole, from Viana do Castelo, Peniche to the countryside, things are pretty much empty. And so we are using also digital nomads to make locations cool, to attract also residents to these locations. It's happening in Ponta do Sol. Part of our community is people from Madeira who are immigrating in London, etc., and now are coming back because we have this cool community, international, with everything. We have electronic parties in this really crazy hotel. We have workshops about AI. We have CrossFit. We have yoga. We have cacao ceremonies for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it's a lot on my agenda. It appears a lot of times. And so we use it as an impact tool, basically. And I believe this is the right way to use it. I believe most governments think about this just to attract people. I think when well done, the impact that digital nomads can have in a society is much bigger than just the 2,000 euros they live in Portugal.
I mean, from the outside perspective, I would say Portugal has noticed and found ways to support digital nomads coming faster than other countries, for sure. I mean, not every country offers the special visas and things like that. So I think you can feel good about it. Deborah, I wanted to come back to you. So to talk a little bit again about how when you bring this international community to Portugal, to your home country, what are you doing to help those members integrate? You mentioned some courses that you started offering and also some special activities. So I'd like to give you a chance to talk about that.
So we go through this onboarding process with every member. So every lead that comes through our door, we like to use a one-on-one approach, which is we go and do a tour with this person, we understand their needs, their purpose in their visit, what are they intending on doing in Lisbon, what is their project about. So straight from day one, we get to know them really well, and that helps us connect them with other members in the community straight away. So it's really relevant for us because it's off to a good start in this relationship, and either if members sign up with us or not, we go through that onboarding process always. What we then do, and we have proud in it, is we try to do events on weekly basis that gather all of our community. We have one special one, which is called the Tagarela Club, in which we give Portuguese lessons to the international members that don't want to commit to those long, intensive Portuguese classes and come for a lunch, and we all have lunch together on a very informal basis, and they learn a little bit about the Portuguese culture. They learn a little bit about the Portuguese words, and this way they can start creating relationships with other members, but also ultimately with Portuguese people. So for us, it's important to have them starting with the good integration process that we can then, if they stay, because usually that's what happens, is when you do the good job of welcoming, and I think Portugal is really good at welcoming people. I think when you then do that good job and maintain those relationships, that's why they then stay. And it's like you were saying, Gonçalo, like you then see a percentage of those members, of those international people coming and staying with us and becoming expats, creating their own businesses here. We have hundreds of stories around like collaborations that were made, new businesses that were made, because we are creating the space for it.
Thank you. So Ines, you already mentioned that you've kind of gone through a cycle of different members coming to your space. I didn't ask you before, but how has it been with your local members? Did they stay through the whole process, or did you also have a massive shift of your local membership? Just to ask, I meant to ask you before.
Yes, before the pandemic, they were Brazilian, mostly.
Okay.
So they completely changed from one to the other, yes.
Interesting. So, and we talked about it a little bit. So you've got 60-40, and do you find that there's a divide between the two, like people who are native speakers and English speakers, or how is your community right now? Or maybe, how do you describe your space also?
Yeah, okay. So, as I said before, we started thinking about helping people build their businesses, and very soon realized they weren't building their businesses. So we shift, and our focus started to be a second family for them. So we have a very strong family feeling, more than like a community. So we have like a mother in our space, that is Sandra. And Sandra doesn't speak English, but she managed to get understood and understand everyone. And she's the one who cooks. So we don't have breakfasts because it wouldn't work for us, because we have digital nomads and expats that start working much later than breakfast time. But we have lunch service daily. So from Monday to Friday, we have lunch service provided by Sandra, who cooks there in the space. and we all have lunch together on a daily basis. So that really, really helps tightening the community and welcoming the nomads and expats and everything. So we all speak in English during lunch because unless there's no one that doesn't speak Portuguese, of course. And we can, like, on a daily basis, know about what's happening with everyone. So welcome everyone to the community, and they can bring their own food if for any reason they have leftovers or they don't like the Portuguese food. That's one thing. We cook Portuguese food so the foreigners can enjoy that as well.
I love that. I love food as a sort of way to get people to, I mean, we all have to eat, right? So, and we usually love it. Usually.
It's the most Portuguese thing you can do.
Yeah. No, it's great. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Gonzalo, I wanted to ask you, so you mentioned like you've got a huge influx of people coming to this small community. We were talking yesterday and you talked a little bit about how you prepared external services. So outside of the co-working spaces, you were kind of preparing the community. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, before we open every space, have you seen backlash against digital nomads in Portugal? It's one party, basically. It's 20 people, but they are very loud. And the reason is most of the people are not educated even what is a digital nomad. So we have to go way back and educate people what is the digital nomad. People believe that people in Portugal specifically, not sure how it's in your countries, confuse digital nomads with remote workers. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same as expats. Digital nomads have an average stay of 2 months and they use tourism accommodation like co-living spaces, Airbnb, service departments, etc. We don't rent long term. In certain areas, if we are very strategic as we are, we want them to stay there, so we want them to buy a house and rent long term. But this is not true for Lisbon, where people stay 2-3 months for the most part. We have some expats, but we work with digital nomads. And so the question was, how do we prepare locations? So basically, we start with educating the locals, honestly. So in Madeira, Ponta do Sol, they never saw a digital nomad in their life. They are ready for tourists. They receive tourists for 100 years. The island was ready. But we literally did workshops for the restaurants. 25-30% of the digital nomads are vegetarians or vegans. And Madeira, we really like meat. And so we had to educate the restaurants, and we literally have a person, our community manager, she was vegan back then, and she was going to the restaurants, yeah, this was not really good, why don't you do this, why don't you go that? The chef of the restaurant in Ponta do Sol went to research on how to do vegetarian food. So we really prepared all the restaurants, which is very important if you want everybody to feel good. It's about integration. And then we did the same for accommodation. So we did workshops for everybody in the town, in the village, then for everybody in the island, about what digital nomads want in their accommodation. We want a proper kitchen, for example. We cook a lot at home, so we want a proper kitchen because you can imagine eating out 365 days per year is actually quite hard. I hate it. I do it way more than I wanted. And so we really need kitchen, fast internet, a proper space to work. It's not a kitchen table, guys. We really need a proper place to work. So we do all this preparation. We do workshops for the locals. And then we did the same about how to approach these people. We have a hub. So basically we centralize the whole market under our Slack channel that is 6,000 people right now. And people can go there, and according to our rules, they can promote their accommodation because all the nomads are inside our hub. So we centralized everything. So it was a lot about doing workshops, prepare the locals. So in the 1st of February of 2021, when the first digital nomad came, the guys, I know this. This guy is coming to work. He wants this kind of house. I want you to stay in my house. And it became a part of the identity of the village. It was so fun because we did it so well that when we opened the second village, that was Mexico, the people in Ponta do Sol went to Facebook, complained, we are the real ones, you are just copying us. So it kind of became part of the identity, part of why people in Ponta do Sol are proud of their village. The village is beautiful, but there was missing this life. And so by preparing them, and then the locals that we didn't do workshops for the whole population, they were going to ask the restaurant owners, what is this nomad village thing? Who are these people coming to our village? And it was the people that we educated that were now then sharing to the whole world what we were doing. So they became our ambassadors because everybody was winning money with our presence there. So that's the way we still do it now. We are now opening our first community in the mainland. in the surf town. We really like surf towns. And we have already one community in Brazil, Pipa, as also a surf town. It's not on purpose. But now we do exactly the same. We do workshops, we partner with local associations. In Brazil, we partner with the Restaurant and Bar Association, with the Accommodation and Hotel Association. We did workshops for all the members, and then we brought the Nomads. So we work a lot in this preparation, integration, and then the community management is always with these three, locals, expats, and Nomads. It's all coordinated. That's why we need one community manager per location, full-time, because we always need to be coordinating these three factors and make sure that everybody wins money. In the end of the day, the government pays me to make sure that all the private sector makes money.
Nice, thank you. And I mean, I think what you touched on a little bit, it came up in one of the last panels, is that when you're in a place where there's a tourism season, that the digital nomads will come in the off season, and that's...
Yeah, especially for the south of Portugal. Like we see, most of Portugal is very touristic. For 4 months a year. You go there now, most of the things are closed. And this happens in Croatia, happens in the south of Spain. With digital nomads, we don't like to travel in the high season. We really don't like tourists because they are too messy. And I know it's ironic, it's the world. And so we want to go to Algarve or to the south of Spain from mid-October when the tourists are gone. And the prices are right for us. We don't pay per night, we pay per month. So an apartment that costs 1,000 per week in the summer, usually we pay 1,000 per month in the winter, right? So cost-wise, we really help with seasonality. But Ponta do Sol, Madeira is basically full the whole year. It just changes the kind of people that go there. But basically, there is no low season in Ponta do Sol at all. It's just, instead of charging per night, I charge per month. The village is always full of people.
Cool, thank you very much. I want to open it up. If anyone's got a question, you can go ahead now. I've got plenty more, so don't worry. Okay, I knew we were going to. Oh, it's me. I forgot.
Hi, Gonçalo, this one's for you. Very interesting what you do and seeing digital nomads as a development tool, like you said. I'm just curious to know how you attract them to those places. Like, how do you get a digital nomad to go to a random village in Madeira or in other locations?
Do you want the real answer or the political correct one?
The real one.
Oh, no.
Or your favorite answer, whatever.
No, I'll go with the real one. So they came to Ponta do Sol because I built it. And before I do this all crazy nomad thing, I was actually a remote work ambassador, and I was helping companies to move from the office to remote work. So everybody in the remote work community knew me and already followed me for that reason. So when I did something, and I was a digital nomad myself, so I went to conferences, I met people, so the word of mouth was very important. So when I said to the world on my LinkedIn, the whole launch was a LinkedIn post. We have no budget for marketing whatsoever, zero. It's like, Gonçalo, good luck, this is the money we have. And so basically, most of the people came because the first part was because of a LinkedIn post I did saying why I was building it. And honestly, that's why we build in a village. The impact is bigger, the story is special. Right now we are in the city in Funchal, but journalists from all over the world come to Ponta do Sol, this tiny village, because it's a special story. It was not what everybody else was doing. And so it started because I was someone in the community and people followed my opinion. So when I opened, people were very interested and we had a huge media coverage because it was a different story. After that, it's all about word of mouth. So it's literally people that go to Madeira, nobody leaves Madeira without wanting to come back. It's impossible. Because you'll meet your 10 best friends in Madeira. We had weddings, we had babies. My baby is 1 day difference from another nomad baby that was born last year. So, this year actually. So we went through the whole phases of having couples, businesses, NGOs, and people that move, people that are investing in tourism industry, people that open co-living spaces. So now my job is much easier because they do all my work. People that go there, the community is so strong, so tight, so special, that when you make friends in a place, that's your experience. It's not Madeira. Madeira is beautiful, but the world is beautiful. It's about the people you meet in Madeira and the experience you will have that you want to share with all your friends.
I wanted to ask, actually, are you experiencing seasonality, or do you have a very steady thing?
We actually have a problem is that we are always, or most of the times, at full capacity. So it's a good problem to have. But seasonality, I would say that probably in the winter we see a lot of digital nomads. So that's something that is probably going through the market, as they tend to travel at that time of the year. But apart from that, we've been always between 90 and 100% of capacity in Lisbon, and it's been like that for a while, which is great. In terms of seasonality, it's just the hot desks that we can see more of that, because on the other side we have fixed desks, and people tend, and companies tend to stay for longer than sometimes 12 months.
In our case, it's a bit of the same. Like we are almost at the full capacity every time of the year. Curiously, June has been, for the second year, the worst month. And then, like, it depends. Like, sometimes the winter, like starting in January, we start having people from the UK that are running away from the rain. They don't know that it rains here as well, so yeah. And then, like, during summer, but mostly August, and September, and we have some digital nomads that come in that period, and then when it starts to get cold, they go to warmer places.
Chasing the sun. Got a question in the back.
Hi, thanks everyone for your presentations. I have two questions, one for Gonçalo and another one for the rest for everyone. For Gonçalo, you said that that now in Madeira you have like electronic parties, CrossFit, specialty coffee. Could you also describe, like in general, the commercial landscape transformation that followed the establishment of the village?
I love your question. Thank you so much. Yes, there is a whole nomad economy, which is very interesting, especially specialty coffee. It's something which we really seem to like. I love it, so I'm guilty on this one. And avocado toast for some reason. Fortunately, we have avocados in Madeira, so the impact is a little bit lower. But what we see is definitely, for example, a hotel, Dorisol, opened an incredible co-working space in the abandoned area they had. We had people cooking for nomads. We have a side market of rent-a-cars that just rent cars for nomads. Accommodation pretty much the same. But definitely one vegan restaurant opened this week in Ponta do Sol. Like there is no local that will go eat there, but because we have such a big market, they are able to open it. Sorry, guys. You have to come, you'll understand. We are more into skewers full of meat and meat in plates, usually with fries. But the truth is, now there is a new market. So now we see healthy restaurants, we see workouts, we see a lot of yoga, we see private events, the full moon stuff. We have one electronic party, which happens every Friday, called the Purple Friday, that we really want to bring to the mainland. And it's like 500-600 people, usually half-half, nomads and locals, that we curate. It's free. And we bring DJs from electronic music from all over the world to that place. It's a hotel on a cliff. You can see the whole ocean in front of you. And the manager of the hotel said, we always had the dream of doing this, but nobody in Madeira used to like electronic music. They go to reggaeton, they go to commercial music. We now can have massive electronic parties in a 4-star hotel with the best DJs in the world because we have digital nomads here. So basically, yeah, it creates the floor and the community for new businesses to open up, from guides, for businesses, and it's very interesting to see this whole market starting around a small project that has 50K budget every year. But there is the impact in the new businesses created are out of this world. We cannot even measure that impact, honestly. We just measure the money people spend in Madeira, more or less, which is 2,000 more or less per person, and that's our official numbers. The number of businesses and money that we spend in all these new businesses is not counted. And it's massive. There was no good specialty coffee in Madeira. And now we have incredible coffee. And honestly, the tourists love it. We are 20,000, but we welcome millions of tourists. And tourists want to go to specialty coffee. Tourists want to use this, but the locals didn't know about it because there was no stability, people looking for it. So it definitely just not only creates a new economy, but usually prepares the future of tourism, because nomads are very often early adopters in the trends that will come to the majority of the market later.
The second question was just for the whole panel, if there is a big difference in terms of profiles about the digital nomads who go to Lisbon and the ones who go to Madeira, if you can contrast that. make sense at all.
So I can speak for Lisbon. In Lisbon, what we see is digital nomads, and they come to our doors on the second or third day when they arrive to Lisbon, which is really interesting, straight away looking for somewhere to work from. And after that, there is always, or most of the digital nomads that we welcome to our doors usually tend to be very interested in what we are having in terms of events, because they want to straight away build new relationships, they want to be involved in the community, they want to be part of it, they want to support businesses. So they come with more purchasing power, which is also interesting. And so but they also come with the willingness to spend more consciously. So I think it's also important to note, is that they want to support businesses in a more conscious way. And yeah, in Lisbon, we have close contact with the digital nomads because they're really interested in getting to know the city and getting to know the community.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Porto. And specifically our co-working space. So it's quite funny actually, because the digital nomads are not a big percentage of our co-workers, but when they arrive, we see a shift in energy, because since we have more Portuguese people that live here and live nearby and work and have regular lives and families and stuff, they are more quiet and they enroll in the lunches and events that we do and stuff, but they are quiet people. Then we have the expats that are actually living here as well, so they are actually pretty much quiet. And then they come, the digital nomads, that have a different kind of energy. So they start making friends on day one. They start making, going out, calling people to go out to have beers after work, or 2 months after they leave, and they make a goodbye party. And it's a completely different level of energy, because they live from this. And it's super curious to see people from the UK that usually we think of, sorry about any prejudice, but we think about being more serious and not as outgoing. And we are very, very surprised to see the digital nomads that come from there. They're super outgoing, talking with everyone all the time and making parties and glowing parties and everything on their own without our help. So it's very good to have them sometimes, because they boost the energy of the co-working space from time to time. Then if they become expats, they start to fade a bit. And if they leave, others come and shift the energy again. So it's very good.
Nice, thank you. I did see another question in the back. So.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering, it sounds like all a great story, but I think we've seen, with Barcelona, Venezia, what has happened, and there are people, I'm sure, who contest the gentrification process, which is happening. So my question is, how do we manage to keep something kind of more limited, to not have all the negative spillover effects that you're describing? Because I'm sure even in houses and DJs, you'll hear people complaining, I'm sure, about the noise. So how is this possible? I'm not sure it is, but I would like to have a question, because it all sounds just great, but we know there's downsides for some people living in these small villages. So how do we kind of manage to have enough growth and not too much growth? And especially, in the context of the greening economy, et cetera, et cetera. So just an open question.
I love your energy, but you will not like my answer. And I apologize in advance, because I will be polemic here. I disagree with the premise that digital nomads bring gentrification. I think we confuse nomads with expats again. Because nomads will stay in the accommodation, so nobody will move out. We basically travel in the low season for tourism accommodation. What we see is expats that can cause that, but even locals. The case of Brooklyn, New York, it was the own New Yorkers that caused gentrification, because they moved to these new trendy neighborhoods. But I would still like to address the solution. So the solution is proper managed communities, and the issue is that we don't really know. I understand what you're saying. Is it really? There is no data. In Madeira, I have data. I would love the municipality of Lisbon and the municipality of Porto to create a centralized project so we can have data. So we understand where are these people staying. I know they don't. How much money they spend, what are they doing? There is no tracking at all in places like Lisbon or Porto where these possible problems are bigger. While I have all the data, so I am sure there is no gentrification problem where I'm building because we are connected with the locals. And honestly, the locals are the ones making more money and gaining more out of all we are doing because we are doing it with them, not fighting them. We are literally doing these projects with them. So I honestly think that in the future, we'll have more projects properly managed because, again, this is a tool. It can be a good tool, it can be a bad tool, but many, many times we confuse nomads with mass tourism and nomads with expats. And it's 3 different markets with 3 different impacts. We create trends, yeah. Oh, it's because, yeah, but, well, so should we kick out influencers as well? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's a solution. I think the solution is always integrating and preparing better so that bad things doesn't happen. And I'm going even deeper on this. If we really speak about gentrification, I don't know a city that is growing that doesn't have gentrification. It's just part of the growth process. And it's not good or bad. It's just how cities work. We see it more with an expat community. We have somebody to blame. If a city grows in population, imagine Lisbon 20 years ago and Lisbon now, with all the Portuguese even coming. Lisbon is a different city. It will always cause gentrification because if the interest is higher than the construction rate, the prices will go up. Today we have a global housing crisis, not a Portuguese housing crisis. Everybody's trying to blame someone. I think the problem is much more complex than that.
Just to jump into on the topic, because it's also, my project is also in attracting new people to the region that we're in, and it is a topic that comes up, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to talk about it too, because I think Lisbon is for sure a topic, and Porto, I'm not sure, I don't know actually, so I'm curious. But I think sometimes gentrification is a term that gets blanketed over all economic development, and sometimes, if you have no controls or anyone like watching and putting measures, and it's just rampant capitalism, then you're going to have bad things happen. But if you have people who care about the communities, I mean, I think you do care about the community, then you can have economic development that is together with the community, and you just have to keep an eye on it. There's no way to predict the future all the way. Just to put another side on it, because I also have this concern with my project, and I'm always keeping a check on it. So I'm curious, so I'm going to start with Porto, because I don't know how it is going in Porto. He's got your... Do you feel gentrification is happening in your area, and do you think it's being pushed, or just to keep it in the question that she had, do you think that gentrification is happening in your area, and do you think it's being pushed by the influx of international people or digital nomads?
I think that definitely there's a local group that feels like that because of the increase of the prices and everything. In our particular part of the city, we thank for that because it was we are in Bonfim. That's the western, right? Western part of the city. No, the oriental part of the city. Sorry. No worries. So it's a part that is not. It was quite abandoned a few years ago, and the city, the municipality, is exactly trying to bring more people to that part and develop more businesses there and stuff. So they are even giving incentives for people to have businesses there and to recuperate the buildings and stuff like that. So digital nomads and even expats help with that, because the Porto people had forgotten about that area of the city, and they focused on other areas like Boa Vista and the city center and other parts, and that part is still there. It still has traditional stores, very, very traditional stores. And that feeling of like a Porto neighborhood. And the digital nomads and expats are just filling in the gaps of that part of the city and helping the businesses being alive. So I guess it depends if the municipality or the government don't let it scale to a point that is unbearable.
Thank you. Do you have something to add for Lisbon?
Yes, I think in Lisbon, and of course, talking about gentrification, and this is happening in so many cities, but to Gonçalo's point, I think there needs to be work done by our governments, by who is attracting, and the country that is attracting all of these digital nomads and remote workers to Portugal, to then also do the other side, which is to show and present results of all the benefits and everything. Because I believe, as you were saying, you are a case that is showing results. We don't know anything about Lisbon, so there is not much information, much data around what are the benefits for digital nomads and their impact in local economy. Of course, we could say that they are helping inflate the market and the housing crisis, but we are not sure, we're not totally, definitely sure on that. So I think it's important to open up the conversation and get the government to reply on that and get them accountable for that.
Really good points, thank you. We have time for one short question. And if not, then I have one more. Deborah, I asked you before to think about one amazing example of a local and international partnership that you saw in your space.
We have several partnerships happening on a monthly basis because we have a community of 350 members. So it's normal that they will connect in a way. And we have actually data on that. So in our 10 years of existence, 90% of the members have reported that they've collaborated in a way between each other. But there is one particular in Lisbon, which was Matt, our member Matt, who started as a member in 2017, and he came as a digital nomad at that time, and he had the idea of teaching women. He wanted to teach women how to code, and so he started a workshop in which his first workshop would be, okay, I'm going to teach for 10 women because he wants to help work towards decreasing the gender gap in the tech industry. And so he started off with one workshop for 10 people, for 10 women, and then suddenly in 2 years he was doing workshops all over Lisbon, Porto, Braga, or working with universities, local communities to do, because there was so much interest in this particular idea. And today he has taught to more than 180,000 students worldwide. Of course, during COVID times, he started working online too on that. But this to say that the potentiality of having and bringing digital nomads, international people to our country, they also bring a new skill set, they bring experiences, they bring different perspectives, and we should take pride on embracing that and helping them then get their ideas off our doors.
Yeah, thank you very much for the story. And I think that to end on this session, I think that the more different people that we meet, the better we can make the world. I truly believe it. This is what I think that some of these projects are doing. So thank you so much for sharing what you're doing. And thank you for attending. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, we should.